Hey all, Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the south, more specifically, Cullowhee, North Carolina. And this is your carpet vlog for September 18th, the year of our Lord 2017. I'm over here in Cullowhee. I was actually meeting up with Harold Catman Sims. We were working on a little project that should be coming up soon, but figured while I was here, I'd see some other things in Cullowhee. And actually, here in Cullowhee is my alma mater, Western Carolina University, where I graduated and got my degree in social work. So I figured maybe I would stop by and see how things are going at the old WCU. Follow me. All right, pulling in to Western Carolina University. Look over at that roundabout. There is a catamount, the school's mascot. Some people say it's a mountain lion. Some people say it's a bobcat. Who knows? It's a freaking catamount. To be in college again. Actually, I really am glad I'm not in college anymore. And there's the social work building where I learned how to social work. See, the social work building, we actually share the building with the anthropology department, and they actually have a body farm here. And when they would bring a body from the body farm into the building, you could smell the rotting corpse, and it was gross. And we have one teacher that would always let us out early if it smelled like a corpse. There's the old Brees Gymnasium. The first three-point shot in basketball history was made in that building. True story. All right, but here's something I really wanted to check out. The Mountain Heritage Center. I actually worked a work-study job at this museum while I attended college here. It used to be located in the front where that catamount statue was, the building behind it, but I got moved over here next to the library. Wanted to check it out. Good memories. There's a moonshiner right there. It looks like there's a drunken moonshiner fight in the back. Some Cherokee stickball sticks. Remember when I started working there, the first thing they had me do was clean a quilt, like a 100-year-old quilt. And I'll tell you, it's not as easy as you think. You can't just throw it in the wash. You have to take a vacuum cleaner hose. You have to turn the vacuum cleaner on the lowest setting. You have to put a pantyhose lining over top the hose and then like run over the quilt with like barely touching it. Very, very tedious. You have to get every square inch of the quilt. And after doing that for hours on end, I developed somewhat of a dislike for quilts, which I think has come out time to time in these videos. Actually made fun of the National Quilt Museum by not going inside and making fun of it, and then they called me on it and told me told me to come back, and if I didn't enjoy it they would refund me my money, which I kind of felt bad about knocking the poor National Quilt Museum. But anyways, when you work in a museum, one thing you learn really quick is that the best stuff is in the back. You go into the storage room. Sometimes you just get a chance to rifle around to the storage room of a museum. You just find some really, really crazy stuff. I remember I found the placard for Chief Henry, the world's most photographed Indian, just sitting back there. Like, I thought that should be on display, but you know, you can't just throw everything out there. Well, that's kind of what Ripley's does. They just throw everything cool out there, but most museums try to stick to themes. They may have things in their collection that just aren't relevant and they can't put on display even though they're really cool. The craziest story though was that the museum received a cigar box. A World War II veteran had passed away, and his wife had passed away, and they'd given all his military things to the museum. And he had a cigar box where he kept all his medals. He had like a a Purple Heart. He had a congressional, I think it was a Congressional Medal of Honor. But he had one thing in the box that was completely unexplained and completely haunting. There was a human finger. A human finger. It was skeletal. It was held together by wires. No one knew whose figure it was, why it was in his trophy box. Everything else in there was a medal or a trophy, except for that one finger. Now he did spend, apparently he was a medic, and he spent time in a Nazi camp. He was a prisoner of war, and they used him as a medic. So who knows where the finger came from, who it belongs to, but that was an experience. Also, remember I got to put together a moonshine still. They had this back room that was like all just pieces of moonshine still. And they sent me and another worker back there. They're like, just find enough pieces and put together a whole moonshine still. And we were able to do it. Well, that's a super classy business to associate with a university. Start vaping today, college students. Let's do a little drive to the back roads of Cullowhee, North Carolina. Now this is a little hard to read, but if you look closely it says Dr. John R. And then over here on this other side, Brinkley. This is a pretty fascinating relic, at least for me. John Romulus Brinkley. Dr. John Romulus Brinkley was essentially a mad scientist. He was from this area right here. This is his family home, and most notorious for taking goat testicles and surgically implanting them into people. And his story, and his life story, is just so insane, so over the top. I don't really have time to go into it here. I actually did a full video. It's one of my earliest videos, so it's not exactly polished. I think I shot it on my phone a couple years back. But it's an interesting story, and it's worth checking out. Dr. John Romulus Brinkley, the insane goat doctor. Now when you're out in Cullowhee, it's always good to stop by and check on good old Judicala Rock. And there it is. Judicala Rock. An ancient Native American carving. Carved with symbols that no one has been able to transcribe or understand. Now this rock is so old that the current Cherokee people live here. It was not them that carved the rock, it was their ancestors. And they actually, when they found the rock, they didn't know what it was, so they came up with their own stories. And their story was involving this man, Judicala. The name translates into the slant-eyed giant. The legend was that he jumped off of Balsa Mountain and that landed on this rock, and that right there is supposedly his footprint. Now a few years back, some idiot actually came and drew a big swastika on the middle of the rock, but it looks like that's been cleaned up and taken care of. There's been other theories on where Judicala Rock got its marks. One of my favorite is a local paranormal group has a theory that this was actually a prehistoric microscope, and that the markings are actually can be matched up to microscopic living organisms. Yeah, the first time I came out here, there wasn't any of this nice setup or information out here. It was just kind of sitting in a field. You can see where they actually dug it out. When I first saw it, it was buried up to there. But what's showing now, it's all been dug out by archaeologists. Kind of mind-blowing that just like this archaeological milestone mystery is just sitting in a field out here in the middle of nowhere in Cullowhee, North Carolina. Alright, I'm getting a little hungry. Why don't we swing into Cookout? Now Cookout is by no means the best fast food restaurant in existence, but it is probably the most food you can get for your money. If you look over here at like their side options. Chicken nuggets are a side. You can get chicken nuggets instead of fried. You can get a quesadilla as your side. You get a corn dog as your side. Alright, so we got us some cookout here. This was $5. I got 3 chicken nuggets. That's a side. Got a little cup of chili. And then I got a big old cheeseburger. And some cheer wine. $5 feast. How can you beat that? Alright, after I devoured that delicious meal, I figured I'd picked up some mail last night. I figured I'd show some of the mail I got. This a postcard from El Bastardo Gordo. It looks like that. What's that? The Eye of Mordor? Is that what they call it? I've never seen the movie. Sorry. It's a eyeball, and there's a little bunny with pepper in his eye. Interesting. And then here, this is from Anthony. It's from Hole in the Rock, which is, I guess, in Utah. It's something I've wanted to visit a while. I think it's like a crazy gift shop that's like inside a cave. There's a carving of FDR's face. So thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Alright, I actually got 2 separate packages from Telecaster Bear, who drew this really cool possum on this box right here. And the first envelope sent me all these postcards on Plymouth Rock. I've never been to Plymouth Rock. I guess that's something I need to rectify. I do need to pay homage to our national treasure, the world's most famous rock. Okay, that was just the national monument to the forefathers, but thank you, very cool. Also, he sent me this interesting package. There's 2 more postcards. Superstition Mountain, and then Sedona, Arizona. But there's some little tiny items in this box. So let's take a look at these. This interesting rock right here, and it says, "Found this piece many years ago. It's heavy for its size. Did this fall from the sky? I don't know." Does any geologists out there know what type of rock that is? Is that a meteorite? Alright, we got some smashed pennies from Mystic Aquarium and Capron Park. Now, I do like these smashed pennies. I just have a bad habit of losing them when I get them. Let me see, can you see that? And then here's the one from Mystic Aquarium. It's like a vial of sand. It says, "My sister worked in Saudi Arabia for 2 years in the late 1980s. On a holiday, she traveled to Egypt. She asked if I might like something from her trip. I said just a bit of sand from near the pyramids would be amazing. She sent me a plastic 35 film canister of sand. I've enclosed some of it for you." That's amazing. So this sand is from the pyramids. The pyramids in Egypt. That is awesome. Thank you. That's very generous. And this is labeled Astro Spy Knit. It's a cereal premium. Maybe this was a cereal prize. It's pretty cool, but very tiny. Thank you, Telecaster Bear. That was very, very cool. Alright, so I think for updates, I think our Brushy Mountain prison trip is full. I think there may be 1 or 2 people that have to confirm, but I think that we're full. I think we've got the full dozen people, and we'll be so I'll be doing a video, maybe multiple videos, on October 29th at Brushy Mountain Prison. There'll be some other YouTubers there as well, doing some videos. There may be some live streams. I can't live stream because Verizon doesn't work there, but apparently AT&T does. So maybe some AT&T live streams. Maybe I can, you know, hijack someone else's live stream. I think that is it for now. So I guess we will put this one in the bag.